What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about everything PC gaming related. I'm one of your hosts, JERMgaming, and tonight I'm joined by the wild card, Joel.
Thanks for inviting me.
I'm joined by Dave. Shut up, I'm talking still. Joined by Dave, the not so evil Viking 13.
Joel, I don't know if it counts as you getting invited because you are one of the hosts, but you're still welcome. I mean,
I don't know.
His thanks are very hard to come by, so he's not questioning your motives, so be happy.
That's true. He said something sincere and nice and didn't follow it up with all the other stuff that normally comes with it.
But why did you invite me?
I'm just curious. I just want to know. I find it really interesting when people just invite people to things. So instead of just being like, thank you, and then shutting the F up, I'm like,
I'm not judging you, but I just want to know, scientifically, just out of curiosity, what's wrong with you? What makes you tick?
That was pretty good, Jeremiah.
I'm just gonna see how long I can hold back tonight. See how
Joel, we're not expecting
uninterested I can be.
Really, you think you can top normal? Hey, James, maybe this week. By the way, we're joined by James the Gray. Hey, James.
What's up?
We'll see how long James can make it this week without texting Joel.
Oh, I'm going to start right now.
James, I'm going to make you host the podcast one of these days just so you have to suffer through what I do.
It's so hard.
Put up with all these uncooperative hosts. You expect that out of guests or people you're trying to pin down.
Well,
you don't expect
when you're an
people.
effective leader, it's not that hard.
Part of being an effective leader.
So last week was up.
It couldn't last very long.
Part of being an effective leader is cutting out the fat that drags the organization down. You want to explore that road?
I don't think you understand.
All right.
Well, that just made everything
Downsizing. It's for the good of the company.
So, we start the podcast as we always do, talking about Patreon. Patreon is where you guys give us money because we do such a good job at making the podcast. And you can do that, or you don't have to. You can or you don't have to, but we appreciate those of you who do. And
then, in theory, we do fun things with that money that
we
improve
do.
the podcast.
We created the Potato Masher, which is doing lots of cool things like hosting the podcast, hosting our ARMA servers, and providing lots of cool comparisons between PlayStation 4.
Not true. All the videos are faked, and the project is not real.
That is true, and it's such a sham. I've given up. I'm not doing one this week. There's no Potato Masher video this week, so everyone just, you can rejoice. James and Joel, that's one more thing for you guys to pay attention to. There will not be that gap in the podcast where you can just ignore everything and tweet memes at each other.
I think it went well last week.
On Patreon, we have someone who upped their pledge, I'm assuming because they wanted Joel to butcher their name again. But Joel, who upped their pledge on Patreon?
Oh, dang it. Dave, stop putting your name around on this. I can't read it.
He's stalling.
No. I was actually practicing this. Let's see if I can get it right.
Dave, you're looking very angelic tonight. Okay, there it goes.
I had the podcast notes open in the other screen.
The podcast notes are...
Well, I do declare that Abdulaziz upped his pledge.
That's pretty good.
What I got.
You actually got his name pretty much right. Unlike last time, you're like, Abba-dooba-laba, Abba-dooba-dabby-day.
That doesn't mean I hate you. I like you. Thanks for upping your pledge.
Stop. Joel, just say the nice thing. Stop.
Okay.
Remember, we've been working on this.
You were doing something.
Why are you looking behind you again?
How to do things.
Okay, and then a small Patreon update. We've been releasing casual conversations to our Patreon $5 and up backers, and sometimes it's once a week, sometimes it's only twice a month. It's just whenever we have something we want to talk about that doesn't really fit in the podcast format, we record a casual conversation and roll it out to them. But we've been talking recently, and we are going to start releasing those for the rest of you guys just on a time delay. So if you are a Patreon $5 and up backer, you will still be getting these. The current plan is 1 week ahead of everyone else. And we're going to be releasing casual conversations into the normal iTunes RSS feed. So if you subscribe through iTunes, through RSS, you watch on YouTube, then you will be getting new casual conversations. So these aren't always they're not consistent like the podcast is. Some of them are about something totally random, has nothing to do with gaming. Some of them might be very game specific.
That sounds pretty consistent with the podcast.
Well,
Dave, you're glowing again.
He's an angel.
I'm glad you
No, he's just a
noticed,
nerdy
James.
white guy.
Wow. Dang. All right. I mean, the sweater's not helping. I'm not gonna lie. Rocking that Argyle this week.
It's cold. My beard can't protect all of me.
Well, it's your fault for getting rid of your 480s. Look what you've done.
Oh, I forgot the space heater too. Now I'm really cold.
Wait, what if Dave's like, you know what? Actually, guys, I don't want to upgrade my video card soon because I need to downgrade to the older one so I can keep warm.
His cards migrate south in the winter.
That's the thing. I'm thinking about getting a second R9 290 so I can play The Witcher at like 60 FPS Ultra when it comes out because I really want to be able to do that. But it's cold now, so I'm like, hey, two R9 290s, how bad could that be? But it's going to get warm, and I'm honestly not sure if the air conditioning in our apartment could do it. Like, I think it would probably be just like putting a space heater inside a freezer. Like, I think eventually the freezer is just not going to be able to keep up, and it's just going to melt everything, and it's going to suck.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but if that 970 had kept working, could have taken one of them partial refunds Amazon's handing out these days.
Wait, partial refunds?
Yeah. Oh, actually, no, we got ours from Tiger Direct, so that probably wouldn't work. But yeah, Amazon's been giving people discounts or refunds of like up to 30 or 40% just for complaining about the card.
Oh, and you keep the card.
Yeah.
Oh, I bought mine from Newegg.
Dave, you had many opportunities to take a refund. I don't want to hear about it. You could have had a refund.
There's
if
no
you wanted a
alternative
refund.
that also has Shadow Play.
GTX 780. It's the exact same card that uses a little more power. The performance is like identical.
Actually, yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. That's not a
I
terrible
suggested
idea.
it.
No, you didn't.
I did. We've had this conversation way too many times.
You were too busy pushing game DVR on me.
It worked great up until you asked about it.
Jeremiah, does this software that I rely on in my workflow, does it work pretty well? Yeah, I think so. No, not at all.
It did, though. That's the thing. It did work really well for a while.
I take your word for it, but no.
Cool. Before we move on at all, Dave, you wanted a PC part picker link. You wanted me to remind you. Someone in chat will hopefully be sending that to you. What's up with that?
Whoever posted the PC part picker link in my Twitch chat last night while I was streaming Dark Souls with Joel, I closed the tab before copying it out of chat. So if you could just post it again, that would be awesome. We will take a look.
And if you are not watching the podcast live, just email it to us and we'll look at it next week.
Yes.
Okay, so before we really dive into stuff, how's everyone's week going? What's up? How y'all doing?
It's
Going
very,
good.
very odd. Being stuck
in a
at
good way?
home all week.
Yeah.
Wait, all week?
Yeah, I've been home all week.
Wow. I mean, are you feeling
Well,
okay? Or
well, I
like,
was sick. I was sick Monday. Then it just kept
everything's been
snowing
closed?
and being icy. And
Have you been gaming a lot?
Yeah.
nope.
Wow.
What?
What have you been up?
No,
James.
I've been sleeping a lot.
Yeah, you were gonna
Yeah, I
play a
gotta
game
catch
with
up a
me.
little bit.
You were gonna play a game with me, and then I texted you. You're like, "Oh, I took a nap." I was like, "That was like hours ago." It was a good nap, I guess.
In my defense, I was still sick as of.
Yeah.
Joel, you were actually interrupting the
Wednesday.
nap when you were texting. He's like, no, I'm not finished yet. Go away.
I hope you're feeling better soon.
Thanks.
Yeah.
6.
I got the man flu this week too. Like the 48-hour like.
What is the
crazy...
man flu?
It's the sickness that you get like where it's really bad for like 24-ish hours and you just get over it like immediately and you're just back to normal. The man flu. Because you're a man, you don't get sick for very long.
It's full of denial.
Apparently,
and-
Jeremiah and me last year got like the non-man flu.
Yeah, I got the flu.
Yeah,
I
no,
haven't
me
been
too.
sick.
Last
Because
year,
it was
yeah.
like a week
I haven't been
long.
really sick in like 3 years, but I got the flu where you just lay on the couch and dimly remember hours and days passing. It was right at Christmas time too. It was great.
Did we
When
all
you're- when
get
you're- when you're
multi-week sick last year, I think?
It was just 1 week. I had like my voice was a little messed up for longer, but I was really only sick for like 3 days. It was my fault though. I started to feel bad, and so I was like, and it's 40 degrees, 35 degrees outside. This would be the perfect Saturday to go lay underneath the car for like 5 hours and swap out all the fluids.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so
I remember that.
I probably could have felt better had I waited, but yeah, it was an easy 3 or 4 days. I was just laid out.
I've been
When you feel too sick to do a marathon on Netflix, that's really sick.
That's
Oh,
bad.
You
Oh,
might be
man.
dying, actually.
I was so sick I enjoyed Skyfall. I don't know how sick you have to be for that. It was like, it makes sense.
It's the worst when you feel sick and then you have a headache and then you can't like watch anything as well. Like nothing alleviates the pain or gets your mind off the pain. Like you literally, like even closing your eyes hurts.
It was bad. I was like, my screen's too big. I can't watch it while I'm sick. It's too bright. It hurts.
What a first world problem. Oh,
It's pretty much the definition. Debbie in
Gross.
chat says we're all weak. So I guess the next time she's sick, no one should bring it up because I guess she's just tough as nails.
Or make sure to share next time you're sick.
that's true.
I've been taking like just vitamin C like pretty much a little bit every day for the like every time it gets close to wintertime. I always do it. I haven't gotten sick that much at all. Like a lot less.
Don't
than
you
I
get
used to.
vitamin C and stuff that you eat?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
fruit?
but it's like we get these just little vitamin C like little like
Are they
things.
gummies?
Yes,
They're
they are.
gummies.
They're so good. But they're like it's like a little snack. Like because it's easy to remember. Like let me just grab.
It's also easy to overdose.
Dude, my brother did that, and it's bad if you take a lot of vitamin C. I think you like pee bad or something like that. I forget.
Pee bad. Another word for kidney stones.
I got the bad pee.
I got the icy trickles. Fiery trickles. I don't know. I haven't get kidney stones.
Yeah, icy. I was like, wait, that sounds really bad.
So anyway, in game releases, a big game release this week, Total War Attila, which Dave and I have pretty much dove right into and are loving. I played 7 hours on Tuesday.
Yeah, it was great because we were due to like do some recording. I had actually stayed up late that night, like having the fever and whatnot, couldn't sleep from the body aches, and made the intro for the series. I'm like, hope Jeremiah likes this idea because the whole intro is now ready. I went to bed, didn't get up on Tuesday until 4 p.m. Stumbled to my desk and Jeremiah's like, you want to record some? Please help. I've been playing for hours. Your timer was like 7 or 8 hours at that point, and you were like begging to record.
And I'd like to do more tonight, which I've mentioned and you've kind of just ducked, but I'll bring it up after the podcast. Don't worry.
Let's not talk about this live.
Yeah. Like it's awkward. Yeah, so Total War Attila came out, and then the Order 1886, which is our topic of the week. Now, Joel, I feel like you've been more excited about the Order 1886. Just like you've been really pumped about it. It's a PlayStation exclusive. What is the gist of the Order 1886 for anyone who might not know?
It's about kind of an alternate history take on the Knights Templar, basically. And I think during 1886, and I mean I just know there's kind of like a crazy plague going on that has monsters involved, and these guys know Nikola Tesla that kind of helps them. Like he builds their weapons. And so it's like an alternate history type take. It almost reminds me a little bit like a feeling of BioShock, but maybe a little bit more real, but alternate history form, with monsters and stuff. But I've been kind of excited for it. I've been reading a lot of the reviews and stuff, and I honestly really couldn't care too much about the reviews, like them saying like, oh, it doesn't do that much different in a shooter. Like, I honestly don't really care. Like, sometimes I just really enjoy like a good like 6.5, 7 hour like short just cinematic campaign where you just feel like you're in the movie for a little while. You know what I mean? Like, I really could care less. Like, I think people worried like, oh, there's not like collectibles and tons of things to do. I'm like, I never do that anyways. So for me personally, like, I'm just looking forward to see, because the graphics look insane. Like, and I guess to take a little bit of what Dave's Steam that he likes to get in games with just awesome graphics. That kind of like outweighs a little bit of the gameplay. On this side, I definitely would. I'm excited to try it. Now, I'm probably not going to buy it like at 60 because I'll wait for it because it is going to be a really short game. And I'm not going to probably play it again. But
right.
So I'll wait to talk a little bit more later on it. But
okay, well, there's a little bit of controversy about it, and I mean, controversy is probably being a little bit like,
yeah, I think that's
let's see,
a lot.
A lot of people have been concerned that the game, it kind of came out this week from early reviews and people who got early copies, that the game is not very long, or what we know now it's not very long, but the initial speculation was it wasn't going to be very long. And people were concerned, mostly because, like Joel said, it's not a game with a bunch of multiplayer or tons of collectibles, or like it's basically the campaign is the draw factor of the game. So if it only is, 4 to 6 hours, which is what people were reporting, a lot of people felt like that was too short for a $60 game. And as it turns out, it is about, the consensus is about 6 hours, isn't it, Joel?
No, it's been usually around 7 to 10, and I looked at about probably 30 different takes on it today.
When people say like 7 to whatever 10, I always have to assume it's going to be like 7 for me, because I think it's people like Dave.
Because Jeremiah's better at game.
No, it's people like Dave. I think who hit the upper limit of it because they enjoy just wandering through the environment.
Dave and I have been pretty consistent that
out.
if I take a game, it takes 10 hours for me. It takes him about 22 hours. And we base it off because BioShock Infinite took me 12 hours exactly. It took Dave about 24 hours, like around that. So.
Well, and then there was also some controversy because not only is the game not super long, like even if it is 7-ish hours, that's not really long for a game.
Much shorter than BioShock Infinite, like for the average person.
No, it's not that much shorter, but some people were concerned because a lot of that apparently is cutscenes as well. So it's not even that it's a 7-hour game. It's a 7-hour game with like 2.5 or 3 hours of cutscenes, supposedly. So people were also concerned about that. Like, it's one thing when Metal Gear Solid has 1.5 hour long cutscenes. You know, Metal Gear Solid 4 probably had like 7 hours of cutscenes, but the game's like 25 hours long. So people are less concerned about that. That's just kind of part of what the game does. But when the game is already short, people were starting to get a little concerned that they weren't getting a full $60 experience. So that's what we want to talk about tonight is what do you think about game length? How long does a game need to be?
Well, if I can explain the reason why I even posted this, I read an article. Honestly, I forget I can't find the link again. But it was one of the developers from Order 1886, and he was saying, he's like, just the internet is just really vile. Like, and I'm like, just from in the last 6 years, it's like this. He called it. He's like, it's like the new place for bullies. It really is. And something he said on there that was just was absolutely perfect is it's so much harder to be nice online. Like you have to go out of your way to be nice, where it's easier to be mean because like it's spur of the moment. Oh, I don't like this. You can complain, but most people don't go, you know what, I'm gonna go log in a username so I can like go, hey guys, you're really good. It just doesn't happen as much because usually they're satisfied and they don't do anything. You know, they're satisfied because they move on because they enjoyed the game. And anyways, that made me think like, okay, you know, so I'm probably not going to get the game for $60. I wouldn't say, like, I just don't want to probably play $60 for that game. I know it's going to be short, but as soon as I thought about like quality over quantity, I was trying to think of like what you're actually getting in a game like this, even with like a game like Alien Isolation. Like, what are the differences, right? And even in Metro Last Light, I can tell you the differences between that game and this game. Whether or not the combat is not as amazing, but I'll tell you the stuff you get better in this game than you would in Metro Last Light. Mm-hmm. Metro Last Light is a fairly long game, right? Right. The animations between just very small things, there's like the little nitpicking things I like to, like, I think about as I play a game that I think Uncharted does so well. Let's say you're in a different area in the game and you get in and out of a car. Well, in a game like Metro Last Light, that's going to be a very long game, you're going to see the same animations over and over and over again, the same sound effects over and over again. They just reuse them, like the same shuffling sound as he puts something into a bag or whatever. A game like this will have like a ridiculous amount of animations for all sorts of stuff. So you like almost never see the same thing when it comes to vaulting over something or like handing an object or picking an object. Because it is a shorter game and it's a more tight-knit experience, they can spend more time to do that. The same with Uncharted. Like, it has an ungodly amount of animations when it comes to that game for all sorts of interactions. Like,
there's lots of polish. There's polish on every little
all the
thing.
Polish stuff. So in that sort, you are going to get that. But when you play like Alien Isolation, like, I mean, I love the game, but you get to a part where, you know, you do the same animations. You're always, you know, the same kind of locks or the same kind of switches. That game will vary it up because they have the time. Or
well, Alien Isolation,
you know,
Alien Isolation actually drew a little bit of flack for being too long. A lot of people said, hey, this is a fun game, but this is like 25 hours long for a survival horror game. That's a long time to be freaked out. Like, this could have been a much better, like, 10 or 12 hour. This could have been a much
There's
better.
There's no
like,
time too short for you, Dave.
10 or 12 hours.
I'm at 32 hours right now, and I think I'm really close to the end. I mean, it's been one of my favorite games this year. Absolutely. Like, it's awesome. And I kind of hope it doesn't end soon because I'm really, really enjoying it. But it's one of those things when it comes to like polish to like each little thing has a brand new animation to it. You're not going to see that. And then it made me think of Journey. I paid $30 for that. That was single-handedly one of the best gaming experiences I've had in a
very long time. You paid $30 for Journey?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't know it was that expensive.
I heard about it and I saw it. I was like literally when I was like absolutely like.
This is
if you
Joel
buy a
talking
game,
about.
if you buy a game, I assume you bought it within 10 minutes of it coming out.
I saw the art and I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. Like that game, like I played it the first time and Joy can contest or attest. Attest, not contest. Contest against me.
She can disagree with you.
Get on the couch. Was that I was just like enthralled by it. What is what?
We don't
Okay,
make domestic abuse jokes on the podcast,
Okay.
Joel.
Oh, we don't. Okay. I was absolutely like enthralled by this game, like enraptured. It almost like brought me to tears because I was like, this is just a beautiful game. The soundtrack, like the way your characters where they would slide down stuff and then it would leap in the air, but the music would time it perfect. I was just like, wow. It was only like a 3.5 hour game. It was amazing. It was worth every cent I paid for that. It was just because I was like, someone put their heart and soul into this game, and so I appreciate that. So, this game might not be amazing, so I'm not like, but I'm sure they put their heart and soul into it to make it as best they can. It just might not have hit home and done a home run, for this game. But for me,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
That's how I feel about it. Is like Uncharted. Most Uncharted games, they've been like 8 hours for me on average. And I'm totally fine with that because it's going to be 8 amazing hours. And by the time I'm done with it, it feels like I've just watched like an incredible movie trilogy or something. And which, I mean, that's not like novel. Everyone feels that way about Uncharted pretty much. But so I'm totally fine paying $60 day one for that game because it's going to be amazing. This game, if it is only like 4.5 hours of gameplay and a bunch of cutscenes, it would have to be really, really amazing for me to want to buy it day one. And the reviews are, apparently it's not very, very amazing. It's pretty much average. Maybe even a little lower than average. Like, there are reviews. The reviews range the gamut of, this is a pretty decent game, to, kind of a letdown. So I think for a lot of people, this isn't going to be a day one purchase. Not because of the length, but because the length isn't as good as it needs to be to justify that price. Like, I saw a lot of people online in comments saying, like, this is a great $20 game when this drops in price. I'll buy it when it hits 20. I'll buy it when it hits 30. For me, I'll buy it when it hits PlayStation Plus. I've got it in my GameFly queue because for new Potato Masher games coming out, like there's not another PS4 game I'm going to be comparing from GameFly for like another month. So the Order 1886 was next on the list. I think it's a perfect rental game from Redbox or from GameFly or somewhere.
Yeah, I wish there was
or
Redbox.
Buy, play it, and trade it in type game. You'll lose $15 or so if you play it and send it back pretty quickly. But it's probably worth that. Like, it's a fun weekend or fun afternoon.
Unless you buy it used.
That's true.
Beat it in 7 days.
Yeah, to me it's one of those games that I think my wife would enjoy just watching, and like because she absolutely loved watching Uncharted. She was just like, this is a movie. Like, she just loved watching it and playing that game. It's not annoying like a twitchy mouse computer game sometimes, where it's like if you're not the one playing it, it's like hard to keep up with.
Twitchy mouse computer game.
I'm just saying, like
the bias comes out.
It's not bias. Like, ask anyone watching just a regular PC game, like especially a girl or something that's not a super.
Especially a girl
that doesn't like playing games. It doesn't like playing games.
Okay, right, someone who doesn't like playing games.
Yeah, don't jump the gun. Don't jump.
What?
No, you got it. Keep going, Joel. You got it.
I was just saying that, like,
you turn to phrase. Go.
It's not very fun to just sit there and watch as it's moving around really quick. It's not as just like as friendly to just watch as a third person. So,
James, what do you think about game length? Setting aside the Order. You also get a lot of games, so how do you feel about, like, what is a game? How long does it have to be for you to want to buy it?
It's all genre based. Like, if it's a 2D game, I don't mind it being like 3-4 hours.
But those are never like $60 though.
If you get like a Nintendo game, like you'll pay a little bit more for something like Mario, and that you could probably finish that in maybe 6 hours easily.
But that's got a lot of replayability though.
Right, and that's one of the things that matters to me is replayability. If it's short but it's replayable, I don't mind. Usually I try to go for like the 10-hour mark for a game. Like if it's less than 10 hours, I'll probably wait till it drops till about $20. Now something like Fallout, I have the expectation that it's going to be at least 100 hours of my life.
It's going to be more.
Yeah.
James. I'm praying that it's more.
It's going to be more. James, did you do a lot of mods for Fallout, or were you just pretty much vanilla?
Just vanilla. But you know, again, it's a genre. If it's an RPG, I want it to be at least about maybe 20 hours, because I want it to be enough story and exploration to get my money's worth.
Well, yeah, because like Joel said, the minute-to-minute gameplay of it, like an RPG, isn't going to be as amazing as a more tightly focused game, because it's a big open world. You spend a lot of time just wandering around, sorting through your inventory. Like,
oh yeah,
they definitely.
That sounds good to me.
Need a second.
I know, but it's not like it's not as exciting as Uncharted is or something. Like on a minute by minute basis, it's nowhere near as exciting.
And that's something I'm very, very curious to see how The Witcher 3 turns out, because like trying to make a massive game and have that minute, really polished feeling everywhere you go is really, really hard. I don't think I've seen any game do that. I mean, any game, So it's one of those things where like we play DayZ. Like the world is not going to have the level of detail as a smaller crafted game. It's just never going to have that. It's just impossible. Or at least we're not going to see that for a very long time. So you can get two different things, so you can get the really high quality polished, like extreme level of just like story that's just driving you on. Like, okay, James, that game Rain, Heavy Rain.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a very long game. That was that was
pretty much
7 or 8 hours.
Did you play through that, Jeremiah?
I've started it. I've never gotten around to finishing because my PS3 broke.
But that
so
was
I never
worth
got to...
every cent.
Joel,
yeah, because you're.
Go ahead, James.
I think there's a difference between, like, again, talking about the RPG. If you're spending 25 hours, but you're doing stuff to traveling here, traveling there, I think you kind of forget. But if it's something that's intense the whole time, I don't think it's that bad to be a less than 10-hour game. Like I think Heavy Rain, if it was much longer, it probably wouldn't have been that great. But like Call of Duty, I get exhausted after a while. I'm like, okay, is it almost over?
It's like high adrenaline the whole time. It's like an overload for your.
But, I mean, it's fun. It's great. But then it's just like, okay, am I getting close to the end? I feel like I've been kind of trudging through.
But again, Call of Duty is really a game about multiplayer, and the campaigns are kind of like they're good.
Which I don't like multiplayer for that.
Well, but that really just means Call of Duty probably isn't the game for you then. But their campaigns are pretty much just onslaught after onslaught for several hours, and it's over. But you don't feel like you got cheated because you didn't buy it for the campaign.
And that's how I felt that way also playing like Killzone, like not the current one, but the last ones. I just get to a point where it was like 7 hours into the game. I'm like, all right, this is starting to get a little
because the rest of the story isn't good enough. Like the shooting and everything's really solid, but after a while the story is kind of thin and you're like, all right, something needs to happen or I'm done.
Like I wanted Destiny to last longer, but not like it was, I wanted it to be a game that I wanted to play for longer, but it got to a point where it was like, ugh, all right, I'm getting to the, I know I'm getting to the end, so let me get to level 20.
For me, that wasn't very far in. For me, it was when I played 2 missions back to back that were the exact same run to this exact same place, shoot these exact same enemies, and the mission ends. And there were 2 missions back to back. I can't believe this made it all the way into the game. After that, I was like, they're not even trying. Like, this isn't even pretending to be a story anymore.
Destiny?
Oh,
yeah. Oh,
it was so regurgitated. For that game, like, there are people online have been talking about they've been grinding weapons and stuff for like 50 hours in that game. I don't even understand how that's possible.
I was really hoping that you'd play like 10 missions. I was like, okay, this is gonna be an RPG, so maybe this level, this area is gonna have similar quests. Then you go to the next area and they have like a whole different types of quests, but you do the same ones, right? No, it's like you get to the next area, same quests, just a different environment. Like no new challenges, nothing.
Technically,
not like
Uncharted's
a super
that
different
way.
environment, just a kind of different environment.
I mean,
but Uncharted has the set pieces and the cutscenes and all the other stuff that makes it cool.
I mean, they have they have the same mechanics throughout the game. I mean, you're jumping here, you're climbing around this, you're doing that, you're doing a trap or something. But because it has a different pace here, because it has story that actually goes with it, I think it works.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say that one word that everyone seems to be avoiding is the cinematic. Like, they were giving a hard time for talking about the 24 FPS. It is still 24, right, Jeremiah?
Yeah, it's 24 FPS and 21.9 aspect ratio.
It's at 30.
Is it 30?
It's 30.
They got to
Oh,
30. Nice.
Yeah.
I wish they hadn't focused so much on the frame rate. If they had just moved past that, I mean, like, well, yeah, it's gonna be more cinematic because we're doing that extra bit of animation, and it's more than a bit. You know, we have tons of transitions and unique cutscenes with unique textures, and talked about how we're creating a very focused experience, but where the polish is consistent from scene to scene to scene. And maybe they talked about that. Like, that's why we're not going to hit 30 FPS, although they did. I thought it was funny that no one had actually said the word yet after all the talk about the frame rate earlier on.
Now, this is a little bit off topic, but as we're like, I think we've said most of what we want to say about this issue. Does anyone else get the feeling that like the fact that frame rate and resolution are talked about so much in this new console generation, at least in my opinion, I'm curious to see if you guys agree. I think it's because people are secretly let down, or not so secretly let down, that the consoles aren't as powerful as they thought they were going to be. And they're not as powerful because everyone complained about the super high prices last generation. So they came out at a really friendly price point that, if you remember, everyone got excited about for the PS4. I mean, we were excited. They came out with that great price point, but it's not magic. Like, they had to actually build it and sell it for that money. So it wasn't as powerful, I think, as a lot of people were expecting. Not necessarily as what Sony or Microsoft said, maybe as what they implied, but I think it's not as powerful as people were expecting. And now people are feeling let down that every game isn't like 1080p, lock 60, blazing, amazing, smooth, you know. Like, people thought, like, it's the new generation. Why are we still dealing with, like, why are the frame rates dropping? Like, why is there pop-in? Why is all this stuff still happening? Why is the last 4 years of the Xbox 360 still happening on my, on my Xbox One? I thought, like, why did I spend $500 on this thing?
If I may partially not agree with you.
Sure. No, I'm
I agree with you partly.
I'm not saying this is definitely the case. I'm
yeah.
wondering, it seems like that could be a reason why this is happening. What do you think?
I would say it's part that, and also just, I mean, there is a lot more gamers and it's a lot more known. I mean, if you think about it, last 6 to 8 years, we do have so much more social media. Everything's more like black and white with, hey, we're making a game. When is it coming out? We want to know. And I mean, if you think about it, I remember playing games where there was no feedback of, hey, what do the fans want? They didn't really know. They just made a game and hoped that it did well. You know what I mean? They didn't have like instant Twitter feedback of this game's awesome or this game sucks. I think it is partially that, because just seeing the amount of, like, I don't understand why people really do take the time and go, I'm not paying. It's crap. You're making me pay $60. I'm like, no one's making you pay $60. If it doesn't look like a game you really want to play, wait for it to go on sale. That's fine.
This isn't a new phenomenon, though,
I think,
Joel.
yeah,
I'm gonna
But
step in and wholeheartedly disagree with you.
But
a new venue to argue doesn't mean that that's why people are arguing.
That's
true. I mean, the internet was pretty strong back when the other systems came out too.
The internet,
but it's way more popular
I think now,
to argue, though.
The internet's gotten to the point where it's much easier to find your echo chamber of people who either strongly disagree with you or strongly agree. Like, it's easier to find your group. Like when we were younger kids, if a game was super screwed up on the N64, like, I wouldn't know about it unless people were like falling through the earth or something. Like, and I was 8, so I didn't care. But you wouldn't know a game had issues unless one of your friends also had the game and they were like, hey, does this thing happen to you? And you're like, yeah, it does happen to me. And then you move up a couple generations, and by like the PS3 generation, stuff is kind of starting to happen, but most games mostly work when they release. Like, it's not like it is now, where before a game comes out, people have like dissected every tiny little thing about it, and then they complain about it for 24 hours, and everyone moves on. Like, well, the next exclusive will be really good.
That's so much faster, yeah.
I mean, I feel like the last generation, though, had just as much bickering about everything, even around console launch. Like, I don't feel like the internet has grown that much since then that now people are starting to share their opinions. I actually agree with you, Jeremiah, that the expectation that, every time you get the new console, that there's going to be this just major leap in technology. Mm-hmm. And that the fact that it's not hitting those numbers is like, really, what's the deal?
Which it's happening in a lot of other things. Like, Moore's Law is Moore's Law, right? That computing power would double every, how many years? Every 2 years? Every year?
I can't remember the exact number.
4 years?
That was the gist of it, yeah.
Yeah, it would double every couple years. Well, we're reaching the point where that's no longer true, just because we need some quantum breakthrough in technology. Like, we've shrunk the dies, we've gotten power efficiency. Like, we can keep shrinking the dies eventually, but we're already at 20 nanometer,
No, smaller. I think they're doing
14 nanometer.
14 or 12 now. Even I think.
Yeah, like we're not. Are we going to get to like quarter of a nanometer? Like, how far is that going to go before there has to be some other leap in technology? And we're at that with a lot of things. Like a cell phone from 2010 and 2012, massive difference. Okay, all right, I was right. It was every 2 years the number of transistors should double in a computing chip.
Yeah.
But like
more.
But so
he was also a PC gamer.
2010 to 2012, the difference in a smartphone would have been massive. 2006 to 2008, it would have been an even more massive difference. The difference between 2013 2015, not so much. The same thing with computer parts. The difference between 2005 and 2010, massive improvements in computing. Well, we're using a CPU that was designed in 2009, and we're playing games in 2015 on the potato masher. Like, people are CPUs are lasting longer than they used to. GPUs are lasting longer than they used to. About the only thing that we really are increasing faster and faster right now is storage.
Yeah.
All right, this paper and the formula actually, yeah, the formulated in its current statement was in 1975.
Yeah.
And so I think no one would say that now.
Well, and a lot of people are saying now that no longer really applies. And I think
that's not even. Yeah, since Pentium came out, it's not been that big of a jump. Except the cores have been what have changed, but once that happened, it's just we're not seeing the payoff for all the cores because games aren't using it properly.
Yeah, we got multi-core processing, or we got multi-core processors way before we had really good multi-core processing. Even
now, we're just getting there. Like, it's just starting to become a thing.
But if you can see it, like a good example, and Joel, I'm not criticizing Apple.
I can take it.
Okay, I'm not criticizing Apple. I don't want you to get on the defensive.
Here we go.
No. A good Apple is a good example. Apple, I tease them a lot because when they have a new conference, like a press conference, they do a whole lot of, it's 5% thinner, the battery lasts 10% longer, it's 12% faster than last year's. Like, they've run out of most of the crazy, amazing improvements. Like, they can't say it's 8 times faster than last year's. The battery
what they do is they compare it to their
longer.
first one. They compare
exactly.
They're 80 times faster than their first iPhone,
which is like the first iPhone that can't run anything we're running these days. Like,
I do find that ridiculous. I'm like, come on.
That's
it's a billion times
maybe
faster
it's time
than
to
writing
switch
down
to
on
iPhone
paper.
1. It's time to switch. It's time to switch, Shane.
But so they're trying to sell stuff now based on it's so much better, but it's really not better. It's just newer. It's just different. The same thing. We're at the same thing with a lot of cars. I was reading an article. I'm a big car nut, and a Mercedes engineer did a very honest interview. I think it was early last year, and I can't remember the guy's name. But he said, we're at the point now with the Mercedes S-Class, which is their top of the line sedan, excluding any of their hyper exotics they've made. So these things can top out around 125 grand for a fully optioned model. And they said, we're at the point now where we don't really know what to do with these cars. He's saying we're coming up with stuff to do, but he said it already, it's a 4-door sedan with 500 horsepower. And it's so quiet you can whisper to someone in the back seat while you're going 150 miles an hour, and it feels like you're driving 60 in any other car. It has a 25 speaker sound system. Like, the seats recline, they blow cold air through the seats or hot air. It gets so much. Like, the windows automatically tint themselves. There's electric motor shades that can come across the back windows to shield you. The tires can get punctured and drive.
I want that.
The tires can get punctured and drive at 80 miles an hour for hundreds of miles. Like, the list of ridiculous things. If you veer out of the lane, the car will correct it. If you slam on the brakes at 60 miles an hour on an icy turn, it'll do magic and modulate things to get the car back. It's mind-boggling what the car can do. They said, so now we're just coming up with stuff. Like I said, we can't, you can pretty much drive into a brick wall at 60 miles an hour and you'll be totally fine. We can't make it safer. We shouldn't really make it faster. We can't make it quieter.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much more luxurious than an 80-mile-an-hour leather lazy boy. Like, what else are you supposed to do? And so now Mercedes for the last like 10 years has just been adding like interesting new technologies, which on a car is always a bad idea for reliability, but Mercedes has never cared about that. They're just adding interesting technologies and interesting new ideas about things, like, because until like hybrids really become viable, or until there's some major breakthrough in, you know, something that's twice as strong as aluminum and half the weight or something like that, cars are kind of reaching the point where they're just pretty good. Like, they're getting slowly better at fuel economy, but they've really kind of reached peak usefulness for most people. Like a car from 2000 and a car from 2015, a brand new car, they'll have a lot of the same features minus some like extra polish that's put on the top. It's not like a car from the 80s and a car from 2000, which is like, it's a incredibly huge difference, you know? So we're at that point, I think, with consoles, and people are just, there's people who's, you know, younger kids who spent $400 plus a couple games in PlayStation Plus for a year are feeling kind of cheated by the fact that they're not getting an experience that's blowing their mind, like when they, you know, when they went from a PlayStation 2 to a PlayStation 3, or when they first played an N64 and saw stuff in 3D. Like,
it's actually 3D.
You know, it's not blowing your mind like that. And maybe the next generation will be where, like, out of the box, virtual reality just works. And it is a mind-blowing experience because you've never felt like you're in a game like this. Like, there will be that quantum leap of technology that springs everything forward, but this console generation wasn't it, in my opinion.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
Does anyone else have anything to add?
You've added so much, I don't think we need to.
Oh.
I just want to throw in that when they were making the order, that there was actually complaints that it was too boring. Like, they had to go back to the drawing board on some of the stuff. I remember reading that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
well, that's a lot of the reviews are saying the same thing. Apparently, they should have been at the drawing board a little longer, because the game is basically equally divided into quick time events, cutscenes, walking, and shooting. And the shooting's decently fun. All right, moving on to the news.
News time!
Metal Gear on the PC, and this is Metal Gear Solid 5 preview Ground Zeroes.
Sample edition.
It has outsold the Xbox One version on the PC. Is that correct, Joel? I'm assuming
This is
right.
actually
Yeah,
my
that-
story.
Oh,
It's
your
me.
story. Okay, Dave, what's up with this? What's going on?
Yeah, that's the whole headline is the whole story, basically. Yeah, it outsold on PC. So hopefully that means we might see better ports. I mean, this engine is apparently very, very capable of making a very good port very quickly. And maybe even they'll think about porting some of the previous games that are now missing in the PC library.
I'm very surprised if that happened. It would be cool, but I'd be very surprised.
Yeah.
I don't find it that surprising that it outsold the Xbox One. It would be surprising if it outsold the PlayStation version, because these have been PlayStation games up till now.
That's true.
For the most part. Yes, they had some on the GameCube, like they were on other things, but it's been primarily a PlayStation series.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's cool that like a console port, a popular console port sold really well on the PC, but I don't think it's like crazy amazing.
It just happened. It happened very
interesting.
quickly, and investors love that kind of thing. Like new
They do,
market,
that's true.
and
That's
then boom, immediate major profit. So that's always a good thing.
All right, this next one, narrowly avoiding the singularity shame segment this week. Whose item is this about the Stomping
added
Land?
this.
All right,
I think I was the
Joel,
first person to
what's
actually
going on?
see this a long time ago. I haven't really been following it. Like I don't think I ever planned on getting it. I just thought it was kind of interesting. Basically, it's a game called The Stomping Ground, and it's about like kind of being like a tribes person, and there's dinosaurs and
It's
It looks cool.
yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Prehistoric
It's
dinosaur
basically
rust.
DayZ rust. Yeah, prehistoric kind of.
Yeah.
But apparently, I did do some read up on it. But apparently, the guy's developer, like the guy who was heading it up, like he was, I think, partial developer or something like that, kind of like spearheading it. But the guy who he was actually paying to develop just dropped off the face of the earth.
You get a
Like-
bit backwards, Joel. The person who was talking is actually their main 3D artist who did a lot of the work on the dinosaurs, and he lost contact with the project lead who ran the Kickstarter.
Did you read that article?
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah, I thought
the
it
one
was
you
on-
put in the
never
news.
mind.
Yes, I read the article.
I don't know if you did. I don't know.
Did you read the article? I'm curious.
Yeah, no, I did. I read it like 5 days ago.
Right,
or
right.
something,
So basically, yeah, what happened was the guy ran the Kickstarter. It was like $110,000. The game slowed down development extremely slowly last fall. Last update to official Twitter and Facebook was in September. Last email that this 3D artist got from the project lead was like the first week of January, and he sent 5 emails, phone calls, all that kind of thing. No more responses for this guy. He had to pay a texture artist out of his own pocket for work, and basically said, no contact, no money, like I can't keep working on this project. Mm-hmm. One thing that caught my attention, this is gonna be like one of those dangers of early access and Kickstarter things, but $110,000 for an open world prehistoric survival game, like multiplayer, that's gonna have creatures that have to have that complex animation like dinosaurs and humans, like that's a tiny amount of money for a game like that. $110,000. Someone did not know what they were getting into at all. That's not good.
Well, that's the problem with Kickstarter and early access in general. People want it to be a thing, and they say yes, and a lot of people don't have the critical thinking skills to be like, wait a second. People don't know how much games cost, and they're like, wait, $100,000 is a lot of money. Well, yeah, it's a lot of money, but I mean, that's like paying 2 or 3 artists for 1 year of work. Like
less than a year of work for 3 artists.
Yeah, that's not enough, and that's like if they're salaried, not if they're contractors. So that's not enough money to make an amazing game. That could make a cool little indie game, like with a couple small maps where you run around
with a limited scope.
yeah, but like anytime someone goes massively open world, online, you and 1,000 friends, like unless they're asking for $30 million, it's not going to happen. It just isn't.
Well, I'm going to go back to something that Dean Hall said like 3 or 4 months after they relaunched DayZ in 2013. Someone was asking like, so what's the project at now? Like you restarted the whole thing. When are we going to see an alpha? And he's like, look, if this game were single player, we have an alpha out in like 2 months from now. He's like, but we're doing a huge scope game, and then everything is multiplayer on top of that. And that's just like a whole different arena of work. These guys, I think, just didn't know what they were getting into, at least this project lead from the sound of it.
Yeah. So be careful when you back stuff. Try to back reputable looking things and understand that when you back something, there's no guarantee it'll ever come out.
Stalker.
Quick. I was going to say,
Project
was it
Ariel.
Called? Yeah, like, guys, for $300,000, we're going to create the biggest MMO in history. It'll look just as good as Stalker, but modern gen. It'll have, like, a character generator. It'll have all this. No, never going to happen. Never going to happen.
All right, our next bit of news. Project Cars has been delayed. Now, it's a very, very short delay, and I think this is the best type of delay, where they've said, all right, it was going to release, like, late March 27th, I think, and they've pushed it back to April 2nd. And they're basically saying, hey guys, we'd have to release a pretty big patch after release to get that last little bit of polish after the game goes gold. We're just going to hold the game back until that patch can roll out with it, and everything will just go at the same time. Yeah, I'm like totally cool with that, and I am really excited about Project Cars. I really like racing games. The only thing I don't like about Project Cars is the amount of upgrades you can do to the cars. You can't really do any, but the cars are gorgeous, and the handling model is fantastic. It's going to be probably the most photorealistic game I've ever played.
Have you played a little bit? Like a beta?
Yeah. Like the early access.
Was it pretty good?
Backer version, whatever it's called. It is. If you really like racing games, it's pretty simmy. Like it's not very arcadey, but even playing on low settings at 4K, it's one of the best looking games I've ever seen. Like the weather effects, Joel, in Drive Club you sent me, like they look good, but the weather effect stuff coming out for Project Cars is insane.
Do they do the water droplets when they move away?
Yeah, it's way more than that. That's like a canned animation thing, Joel. It does look cool, though.
Drive Club is not
really
a canned
cool.
animation, apparently.
No, the water droplets flinging away, though, those are not all fluid physics.
No, I know that. I know. I was just reading about just the window wiper. They did all the
it's a cool little visual
on it.
trick. It's a cool little visual trick. They've canned how the water would move, and they're using that to make it. It looks awesomely cool. But yeah, Project Cars has just been delayed till April 2nd. I'm really excited to try it out. There's definitely going to be a Potato Masher video of that one. I'm not sure it's going to run very well on the Potato Masher because it's definitely a PC first game, and they have hacked that thing down to run on consoles. And so I'm curious to see what the lowest settings are going to be like on the PC. Like it, not to take, like, I like it when games come out on multiple systems. I think more games should. So I'm not trying to take anything away from consoles. I'm not sure it's smart to put this game on consoles. It's just not that type of game.
It's gonna be so different. It's gonna be a very different experience.
I mean, it looks a lot like Gran Turismo, but it's like many steps beyond that in what they're trying to accomplish with it. What they're trying to accomplish now, it's not released, so we don't know for sure. But from what I've played of it so far, it looks like it could get there. Our last bit of news, the Xbox One, they are beta testing a feature now, where you can take screenshots of the Xbox One. And I'm trying to be as diplomatic about this as possible. I was not aware. It can record television. So the technology's been there. Like, if you can record TV, you can't take a screenshot of a game, whatever. But yeah, you'll be able to say Xbox, take screenshot, or double tap the Xbox button and then hit the Y button. So a feature that PCs have had for years and cell phones have had for also, decades.
With your choice of applications to take screenshots with.
Yeah, the Xbox One is finally getting well over a year after launch.
This is the moment where we need to get Skinner Barkley on here to talk about how he's making his 980 render games at like 12K for screenshot taking. He's like, I get 2 FPS, but it looks so good.
I would like to see, there's somebody who's super talented who will be able to do like actually good screenshotting stuff with an Xbox One. Like, I'm pretty sure someone will figure it out. But yeah, it's just amusing.
Does the Wii U have... Wait, the Wii U can take screenshots.
It's really bad when Nintendo has a feature that Microsoft
like,
hasn't been able to allow.
But every screenshot has like a little picture of Cranky Kong on the bottom right.
All right, Dave, so a PC part picker link was sent to you in your stream last night. What's up?
Yes, I had the link right here. Where should I drop it? Just in Twitch chat again, maybe?
I've got it open.
Okay.
And you know Joel and James don't care about it, so...
Yeah, I mean, I think we can keep this one real short because this is, in my opinion, even as someone who's not very familiar with AMD, this is a very solid-looking build.
What does he want to do with it?
I'm going to assume games. And of course, the main feature of building a custom PC is being able to actually calculate your own taxes. I mean, and spreadsheets. Taxes and spreadsheets.
All right, so what's the build?
It's AMD Athlon X4 860K, 3.7 gigahertz quad core. Motherboard, $80 or $70. Yeah, $70. G-Skill RAM, 8 gigs. 1 terabyte hard drive. Caviar Blue, not the fastest thing in the world, but a nice drive. Good brand name. An R9 270. That's a mid-level Radeon, right?
It's like a Radeon 7950, maybe a tiny bit slower. So overclocked, it could be similar to a GTX 760.
Okay. And sharp-looking case. I like it. Very understated. EVGA 500 watt power supply. Good brand choice. That's a solid budget build.
It is. Only thing I'm going to say, Honey Dip. It's Honey Dip's build, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Only thing I'm going to say is I like AMD. They make really good budget stuff. This is a good budget processor. But unless you overclock it, it is going to suck for gaming. This is not one of their FX series processors. This is one of their budget ones. It's only 3.7 gigahertz, so you would need to add like a Hyper 212 cooler on it so you could get to like 4.5 gigahertz or so if you really want to have it be okay for gaming. Alternatively, if you're doing basic gaming, you could get an Intel G3250 or whatever it is, the $70 Intel dual core that everyone absolutely loves because it overclocks like a champ and it's amazing for games. The only games it's not good at are ones that use more than 2 threads, which is almost no games at this point.
Well, it's changing quickly. The Witcher uses more games cores. Battlefield uses like up to actually all my cores.
Well, yeah, it starts with fewer cores and then just leaks up over time and consumes everything.
No, it actually uses them and then leaks.
So Honey Dip, you say any suggestions for an upgrade without spending an extra $200? If you want to stick with AMD, I would try to get the FX 6300 Hexacore, which is going to be like $120 and a comparable motherboard and overclock it some. If you can bump the budget up a little bit more, I would get a cheap Intel quad core because for gaming, it is going to be a significant difference. This is not a bad gaming build.
Right.
But this, I don't think I would choose that processor to game with. I would choose something a little bit faster because it is going to bottleneck you.
And I am going to say here too, Jeremiah, he also posted some exact games he's going to be playing. Attila, Battlefield 4, and Hardline, DayZ, and ARMA 3. Now,
all right, if you want to play DayZ and ARMA 3, you need to get rid of this processor and you need to get an Intel.
Intel, and then single core performance. Don't worry about hyper-threading. You want the fastest amount of cores 0 and 1 as possible. Like,
in that case, I would probably get that Intel G3250 or whatever it is. Use it, and when you just when it's just too slow, save that extra $100 you might spend on an upgrade now, and just get whatever their budget quad core is at that point. Like,
how much was the build? Like his cost?
470.
it's a nice.
$470. It's not bad.
Can I recommend something?
Sure.
PS4 and Bloodborne. All right, I'm done.
Wait, you know what said, Joel? I didn't see that coming. I was like, wait, is Joel going to contribute?
You really didn't see that coming?
That was coming from like a mile away. You can see a little smile coming on his face.
What's great is like I expect that from Joel. Like during other conversations, like we're talking about going out to lunch. He's like, oh man, I can probably go out to lunch. Just let me check my Bloodborne fund real quick before we go. Like I expected that kind of like left turn, but this you actually convinced me, Joel, that you were going to contribute.
But yeah, Honeydip, in my opinion, if you want to play DayZ and ARMA 3, I think you should get an Intel processor. And that's, as the resident podcast AMD fanboy, you should get Intel. All right, we have other mail.
It's mail time, friends.
You've done better.
Oh,
You can
I
write
wanted
into
to do
the
something different
show.
than the mail time because
That's fine.
just,
That's
yeah.
fine. That's fine. That's fine. I appreciate
I'm
you just looking out. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Stop experimenting.
All right, so you can write into the show at casualshenanigans@gmail.com. You can also leave us iTunes reviews, and we will also read those on the show from time to time. We like getting those, although it does mean I have to reinstall iTunes on my computer. So I'll just have Joel get them for me. But you can write
on
into
which
the
Apple
show.
device will he read them?
You can write to the show, casualshenanigans@gmail.com, just like April did. April said, sorry about the hasty email. I'm sending this on my phone from work. I work at an EMT service. I never get to catch the podcast live, so I just download them to my phone and listen to them on my phone during work. I really hope that's not while you're saving people's lives. Long-time listener since around episode 20, just never got around to emailing in. I have a huge case with three 120mm fans, an i7 3770K, a GTX 760 with 4 gigs of RAM, 8 gigs of system RAM, and an Asus motherboard. It's an icebox, my friends joke, because nothing gets above 68 degrees Celsius. Anyways, I just wanted to say thank you, Dave, for always being that loot-centered PC-playing guy who I tune in to listen about your DayZ updates and opinions.
And James, don't forget about James. James, loot buddy.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Joel, for being on the podcast and pushing your Apple frame of mind. I'm not an Apple fanboy, but I like listening to you guys argue. Thank you, James. Thank you, James, for that super sexy voice.
You're welcome.
Wait. Give something to her when I'm not talking.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, that build up. Woo.
And at last, thank you, Jerm, for being the captain of this PC playing ARMA team, DayZ survivors, computer building, and just all around great group of people. Thanks for making my day at work better. Thank you, April, for calling me the captain.
I like to imagine that's the only thing Jeremiah got out of that entire email.
Suck it, Dave's 22,000 YouTube subscribers. She called me the captain.
Hey, I call Scuttlebutt.
Jeremiah just read the email like DayZ, blah, 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 Dave, Loot, James, voice, Captain Jeremiah, there it is.
Surprised I didn't call you the mast.
I'm going to choose to just drive around that one and go to Brett's question. Brett wrote in and saying,
Raise the flag.
no, my flag is staying down while I continue reading the mail.
Wow.
I wasn't going for that.
Yes, that's
I was.
really, because that's
I
why
really
you were leaning back in your
wasn't
chair
going for that.
laughing, was you were thinking about mature.
What was the
No, I
motion?
actually
What was the
wasn't going for
motion?
that.
You're raising the flag. Both hands just ripping that flag up into the air. All
I
right.
didn't think that through.
So Brett says,
Goodbye, Patreon here.
hey guys, I emailed y'all a few weeks ago about building a PC and y'all were a lot of help. I've decided to up my budget for it since then, but that's neither here nor there. Hey Brett, when you get your new budget together, send us your list so we can pick it apart again. My question today is, do any of you know how in the world to record game audio along with my headset audio on the Elgato capture card? I don't know what y'all use to record your gameplay, but any recording software kills my frame rate, so I opted to invest in the Elgato instead. I've seen that some people select Elgato as their playback device in their sound settings, however, the problem with it is that then I can't hear the game audio myself when I play. My other attempted solution was just to record all PC sound on Audacity and sync them up in post. The problem with this one is that I talk via Skype to my friends while I play and would have that crappy Skype audio in the same audio file. If I could just get the game audio to record on the capture card while still being able to hear it, then it'd be perfect. I know this is a very random question. It's outside of the niche of your normal questions, but I'm putting it out there as much as possible because I can't for the life of me figure out a solution. Thanks as always. Keep producing awesome content, guys. Now, you're right. It is outside the normal questions we answer, but I'm going to answer it because we use an Elgato Game Capture HD card to record and stream the podcast and all the Potato Masher videos. So you are watching this right now through an Elgato Game Capture card, and I actually ran through the same problem as you.
What a twist!
I am trying to use my mic. It needs to be plugged into my computer to record. It also needs to be plugged into the Potato Masher to stream because it's set up as the commentary mic in the Elgato software. And then I need to take these guys' audio, my system audio, and pipe it through. I need to be able to hear it, but I also need to be able to send it into the Elgato for the other computer. So there's a lot of splicing going on. It's not that hard though. Now, if you have the internal card, I'm going to assume it has the same audio options as the external cards they normally do, just on a breakout cable. What I'm doing, if this is helpful, is you need HDMI like output on your video card and input on your monitor. So I'm running HDMI out from the computer. It goes into the Elgato, out of the Elgato, into the monitor. So boom, got video, and video is being captured. And then I take the audio and take it out of the computer and run it into a splitter. One side of the splitter goes into my headphones. Another side of the splitter goes into the analog audio input on the Elgato. And then in the Elgato settings, I just tell it to record analog audio instead of HDMI audio. And then so my mic is already plugged into the computer, so I just record my commentary on a separate track. That's an Elgato option, and the game audio in there. Now, if you're talking to your friends on Skype, they are going to be on the same track as your game audio. Now, you could like do a Skype call on your phone and like put an earbud in your ear or something and talk to them that way, and that would keep the audio out. What I do is I actually have 2 physical sound cards in my computer, and I'm using DxTory to record each of them onto a separate track, and I run TeamSpeak through the secondary sound card, and then I use an audio splitter to combine them when it goes to my speakers or headphones. So people can be talking about whatever they want on TeamSpeak, and it's not on the same audio track. There's probably an easier way to do that, but that's the way I've done it. So if you have any further questions about how to do that, let me know. But it should be very doable what you want to do based on how I understand it. So thank you everyone for writing in. We always enjoy your mail. And so now we're at the part of the show called...
I was going to say one last thing on that the Elgato thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say PS4 or Bloodborne, but I just did. Is there like, okay, you made it sound a little bit easy, like you know what you're doing, right? Is there an easier way to do all that kind of mixing? Like, do they make, I mean, like, okay, I've worked at churches and done commercials and stuff at places. You have like video mixer boards and stuff like that. There's got to be a way to make that easier. You know, like I wish there was.
Yes. Is there an easier way?
Maybe for
yes.
Like, is there a gaming method? Not just a straight
lot of money.
Like if there wasn't maybe a professional high end, but it would be awesome if there was like a gaming version. Like,
well, yes, there
we
is.
need to go into business, make a little mixer that's specifically
there are
gamers.
easy versions, Joel, but the easy versions don't have the options he needs. That's always the trade-off. Like Shadowplay is really easy. Shadowplay will record your mic and game audio.
I'm talking about your way.
I'm one touch, it just sends it up.
Yeah.
Honestly, now that I've got it set up, once I figured out how I wanted to set it up, all I do is open up the program and hit record. Like everything's good to go. It's not a lot of work each week. Figuring out how I want to splice it together. Now it's more complicated for me because I'm using 2 separate computers and I need to be able to hear everything and talk on one computer and have all that stuff translated separately over to the other computer. That's why it's complicated. It would be a lot easier if I was doing this on one computer. So it doesn't have to be that complicated. It only gets complicated when he adds like, well, I want to be able to hear these people, but I don't want them recorded to the audio track, and I want to be able to talk on a separate file, and like that's where it gets complicated. The answer is digital multi-track recording. That's what like a real studio would do. Is everything runs into the soundboard, it has master outs, and you can just hit a button to send any channel to any output that you want, like one touch. So it's not easy. It's way more complicated because it's way better, and it's also way more money. If you want it to be easy and cheap, it's not going to have many options. That's just the way it goes. So, yeah. So what have you been playing this week, Joel?
A good amount of Dark Souls with Dave. That's been awesome.
Yeah.
And Dying Light and Alien Isolation. I think I've actually probably played the most, probably of Dark Souls with Dave, but then Alien Isolation after that. I'm getting close to the end, so it's like getting really good, and it's
I'm excited to hear what you think once you finish it. Like, was it worth it?
I hope I really like it because I'm immediately gonna buy the DLC for it because it connects to the original movie. So and has Sigourney Weaver. She returns as her character in it.
Snap.
So I think it might be short, but I'm like, I've enjoyed it so much. So I hope it's good enough that I'm like, I want to see a little bit more of the story. So, and with the whole Neil Blomkamp become winning director for the next Aliens movie, which is supposedly going to bring back Michael Bihn's character of Hicks from Aliens and Sigourney Weaver as well. I'm like, I'm just in an alien mood right now. So.
I would like to be excited, but Neil Blomkamp has made the one good movie so far. So,
yeah, I know.
Like, it sounds cool, but it's like the Peter Jackson effect of like Peter Jackson made awesome Lord of the Rings movies, and then some
like,
other
what
stuff.
happened? What happened?
Yeah, King Kong.
yeah. No,
like he's still trading. Or like I was talking the other night, Roland Emmerich made Independence Day, and now everything he makes is from the guy who made that movie 20 years ago.
Here's the thing, I wouldn't even say that Independence Day is even good compared to what he's doing now. I think it's just as good as he's been doing all. It's just that it did have Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum in it. I mean, those were... What are the actors he's had in the movies lately that have been like really high level? None.
And the effects were good. Like, the effects were really good for the time.
Yeah.
They still hold up decently well.
I still love watching his
practical
movies.
effects.
They're so crappy, but he's so good at just having I just want to sit down. Yeah, it's a little bit like Transformers, but almost better in a way. Like, I don't know how I enjoy Transformers. I know they're terrible. I think it has to be in that sweet spot between really bad, it's just fun to watch because it's just nuts.
I enjoy them in the same way I enjoy Call of Duty.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold up to any scrutiny, and I'm a little embarrassed to say I enjoy it, but I watch it every time it comes out, with the exception of Transformers 2, because that is pure garbage. Pure garbage.
I paid full price in a theater to see that.
Which, for everyone doesn't know, Dave paying full price for anything is like, Dave wouldn't pay full price for food unless it was tacos.
Maybe that was his turning point in his life.
Actually, I was about to say, James, like, I think that movie might have ruined me for like day or week one movie releases. Transformers 2, curse you.
Dave, what have you been playing?
Attila, a lot of Shadows of Mordor. That game is so much fun. It's got actual like Lord of the Rings lore, like some of the deeper stuff, like the older elven names for the places and stuff like that I'm absorbing like a sponge, and then really, really good combat too. And now that my 970 is no longer crashing, it's running really well at 1440p.
Cool. James, well, you said you haven't been playing much this week. So
I played a little bit. I mean, I tried Apotheon, which was actually pretty sweet.
I forgot about that. That's so good.
Oh man, now it's 3 people now telling me I need to play that thing. I've got it installed. I just haven't like remembered to sit down and try it.
Jump on in, big
Transistor
boy.
was actually pretty fun too. That's also the other one of the other free games. And I played Rayman Legends. I think it was like $10 on PSN this week. That's actually pretty fun.
Cool.
Nice.
I'm really just playing Total War Attila. I'm actually running into an issue where Tropico 5 is not loading at the moment.
Oh no.
It appears that my game file where I'm trying to get to 10,000 people using a mod is maybe actually breaking the game. So my Tropico series is on hold for a while I try to get the game loading. So while that's on hold, I am playing Total War and still working my way through Far Cry 4 and having a really great time. I'm still really enjoying that. And I'm spending a lot of time playing stuff for the Potato Masher reviews. Like I'm now spending way more time than I did originally just playing around with different settings and just seeing how everything runs. Like it's become a little bit obsessive. And I'm really, really enjoying it. So
you're coming out with Shadow of Mordor next, right?
Shadow of Mordor will be next, and then Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, which, Joel, I just wanted to give you a little teaser. Tomb Raider might be the first game where I can say definitively it is better on the PS4.
Wait, you rented it, right?
I rented it from GameFly.
Okay, I was going to say, wait, you didn't get it on my account, did you?
Yeah, but that's because they purposely
well,
bumped it up.
It's interesting because it's it's the oldest game we've reviewed so far, but it was ported up to a newer system. Now, the frame rate and the resolution on the PC obviously is going to be better because the PC you can run it at whatever resolution you want and stuff. But I'm not going to like spoil any of that because it's really cool. But like textures, I think like they may have redone a lot of that for Tomb Raider on the PS4. Like there's stuff that just looks different.
I heard the like wisps
not just
of air
sharper
or something like that, or
well, no,
fog,
they're,
or I don't
they're
know
using
what it is.
they're using Tress FX. That's the AMD proprietary technology that makes hair really flowy. So we're not going to have that on the Potato Masher because we have an NVIDIA card. That was on the original PC version of Tomb Raider. If you had an AMD card, I played it on an AMD card. I guess it looks cool. I think it's like physics to me. Like it's not really worth buying one video card for this feature. I think it's a dumb feature to have exclusive, but since the consoles are AMD based, they could implement this feature with very little performance overhead, and it does look kind of cool as a gimmick. So, you know, I don't blame them for doing it, but I think it's kind of a useless feature. It's like, wow, this is so much better. Like, yeah, if you want the one character to have extra flowy hair, I guess that matters. But, you know, like it doesn't really make the game any better.
Right.
But I haven't really started the comparison much, but just from recording footage tonight, I am really impressed by the PS4 version, except they didn't lock the frame rate. It can hit 60 in places, but it definitely drops.
A bit.
It doesn't go below 30. It does not go below 30.
They found Joel's weakness.
But yeah, it definitely drops. Like
I heard there's no
areas.
tearing though. There's no tearing.
There was during the first cutscenes, but I have not seen any since then. So that could have just been like a glitch while it was loading stuff. Who knows? But yeah, that actually. It's going to be pretty impressive. The game I'm most excited about coming up, the two most hotly debated games in the comments, neither of which have released, but a lot of people seem to pretty definitively know how well they're going to run, Grand Theft Auto 5 and The Witcher 3. I've been watching some gameplay videos this week for The Witcher 3.
4 gigs RAM's like, no.
The Witcher 3, dude, like... It does look like the richest open world thing I've seen so far. And granted, all we've seen is the stuff they've showed us, but even just the clips from missions and things, like the extra little touches and animations and the smoothness of stuff, that game is looking crazy good. I'm getting pretty excited, Dave. I'm almost done with the third Witcher book, ready to move on to the fourth and fifth.
Nice.
I've got to pick it up some because I need to play through both games.
Dude, the last book will make The Witcher 1 and 2 like look so much more awesome story-wise for you. Like I really enjoyed both those games, but finishing the book series, I was like, you see all the setup for the games and what you're doing in the games makes so much more sense after you finish the last book. It's fantastic.
Cool. I'm excited.
Dig in.
All right, it's now time for 90 Seconds with Joel, a part of the podcast where Joel delights us, inspires us, makes us really regret giving him a mic and a platform, and where he insults everything we do here. So, Joel, take it away.
Are you guys ready for this one?
I already feel awkward.
Yeah. Oh, the chat's about to get really awkward.
Let's just pretend there's a fire crackling in the distance. We're at a campfire, the crickets. And I'm about to tell you a ghost story, pretty much. Okay, this is really weird, okay? I'm going to tell you guys about a dream I had, okay? And it involves someone that is always watching our content. And at every podcast, every
NSA?
YouTube video, everything. We all know who's going to be. It's Ultra Grunt. I think it's because I talked with him on Steam like 2 hours before I went to bed. So apparently he was on my mind. This is my dream. As best as I can remember, I had to write it down like immediately. I told Debbie just a tiny bit
journal?
of it. Yeah, in my dream journal. So,
First a chapter titled Shane.
We're hiking through the woods, okay? We're being tracked by someone. I don't know who or what. It's just, it's just that feeling of like, oh no, we're being tracked by someone, okay? Through the woods, we're climbing over like chopped down logs and all sorts of weird stuff. Then we're on train tracks. Then he gets stung by like a billion bees. I mean, like a trillion, like bees everywhere just flying and stinging him. And I'm like trying to swat it off of him. And then,
I think I know where this is going.
Because he can't swat them off himself.
No, it was so
Joel's
weird.
like, no, let me.
Yeah. Okay. And then, we still were like hunted. We never saw what was actually hunting us. I don't remember speaking in the dream. It was just me and Ultra Grunt just chilling in the woods, getting attacked by bees and stuff. But here's the worst part. And I told Debbie, I was like, I don't know if I want to share this. And she's like, no, go ahead. Okay. I was like, okay, I don't think I've even seen a picture of Ultra Grunt. Like, I think maybe I have once, like, of him playing the piano, like, forever ago. But in my dream, he was the biggest overweight guy I've ever seen. And I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry. That's not what I think of you. But, like, I was like, what the heck? I woke up, right? I woke up sweating and terrified. Like, no joke. I went like, woof. I have not set up that fast. Like I've never woken up like that before. I usually just wake up like slowly. But this one, I was like sitting there. My heart was pounding, and I'm like, I don't even know. Like, nothing was scary. Like, we were being tracked. Like, it wasn't a scary dream. I just woke up like fearing everything for like, it like took me like 2 minutes to calm down. I just sat there going, what the crap? And why was Ultra Grunt like this massive sumo wrestler guy?
Sumo wrestler.
It was so bizarre. It was so weird. I sat there and I was like, I didn't know if I woke up Joy. She didn't wake up. She doesn't wake up for anything. And I'm just, after that, so then I went downstairs.
Oh, yeah, because everything you were saying wasn't weird. Okay.
It was just a bro dream. But no, then I went downstairs, had a peanut butter jelly sandwich with some milk.
What time was it? What time was it?
It was 3 o'clock. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it was.
Did you feel better, Joel, after your snack?
Yeah, I did. It took me a while to calm down. Like, I was extremely stressed.
Joel,
sorry,
before I forget, after our conversation the other night, guess what food I don't really like? Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Have you had it? Wait, have you tried it?
Yeah, for years and years I had it for lunch all the time. And then 1 year, like, something just changed. I was like, I don't like this anymore.
I'm just glad you tried it. I don't care if you hate it since you tried it.
All right, and now we have a
for the record,
segment.
Shane is okay. You don't have to worry. He's here.
We have a new segment. I think it's from Joel.
Yeah,
I'm nervous to introduce it.
No, I meant to put this. We always kind of talk about games, but I was thinking about the other day. It'd be awesome to just leave a little nugget of wisdom, a little nugget of hope at the end of, like, towards the end of the podcast.
And you feel that you are the best person to do this.
You push out that nugget, Joel.
I don't think but I might botch it up enough so that it's interesting, so the segment might stay.
Wait, where would you rank yourself in wisdom scale?
I would say it's pretty up there. When I'm joking around,
you're the second oldest. You're the second oldest person
when
here. So you have all that life wisdom.
When I'm being serious, I'm pretty serious, and I think I make whatever. I'm gonna just go ahead with this.
No. I've said this numerous times before, mostly offline. You can have really good conversations with you, and you can be really mature and thoughtful and stuff at times. It's just never when anyone else hears it. 12-year-old Joel just signs on to Skype every Thursday, and we're off to the races.
Well, because you guys do all the that tech side, and me and James have to even it out on this side. So
don't suck James into this with you. James can have intelligent conversations online.
Not around Joel, but sometimes.
If you guys want a serious Joel for the next couple podcasts, I will give that to you.
No, thank you. Because serious Joel is probably arguing Joel when it comes to the podcast.
No arguing, just straight up like
Joel. I don't believe that for a second.
Would you like to see that?
No,
actually, here's a challenge. Joel does the next part picker challenge.
Joel does the next PC part picker evaluation. All seriousness, no fun.
No.
Wait. So I have to pick out a computer, or am I?
No. When the next time someone sends in a build, you have to critique it.
Oh, people are gonna fight over this.
I'll do it.
They're gonna fight over it.
I'll do it. I will be next podcast. I'll be really, really serious. No crazy wild card stuff.
That's the next Patreon perk is the Joel computer building experience. Joel will personally hand build you a most likely non-functioning computer.
I can build a computer from scratch. I can. You don't think I've built several of them? Like, tons of them.
A long time ago.
Not a long time ago. I built one like in 2007.
A long.
Oh, Joel, I'm sorry. Have they changed that much? Have they really changed? Oh, there's
Yes.
no CPUs anymore.
Yeah,
There's no more motherboards.
BIOSes have totally 100% changed.
They're
since
easier
then.
now. So thank you.
They are, but if you don't know like how the new technology works, no, I'm
It's
sure
not
you
that
could
hard.
figure it out, Joel. But no, I don't think you could just sit down and slap it all together in 20 minutes. Enough has changed that it would be.
That is a challenge.
I'm
That is a
sure you
challenge.
could figure it out though, Joel. If you want, Dave can come over when you're right in the middle of important Norman stuff. Turn your computer off, disassemble it, and then you'll be motivated to try to put it back together.
I replace all the parts of my computer all the time. I've only done it lately because you guys can find the best deals and you guys know way more about it. But no, give me like 30 minutes. I'll find
give
a
it
computer.
a rest. He installed his own RAM upgrade. Like he had to open the two little things and you put it in.
It is
you
not
line it
that
up.
different from
I can
2007.
change my own oil. I'm a
It
mechanic.
is not that different from 2007. Not that different.
The broad strokes are the same. It's mostly the fine tuning adjustments that
like
have
what?
changed
Like
a bit.
what? Like what?
BIOS stuff is pretty big, especially when it comes to if you do anything with SSDs, with SSD caching, with the different storage options that are available. Like,
I know how to do all that.
okay, that's I'm
just
not
like,
saying
it's-
you.
Yeah,
Joel,
I'm just saying, like,
I have full confidence you could figure it out.
I'm not gonna
saying,
overclock
I think
it. I
enough
wouldn't
has
do that
changed since
stuff.
2007. I don't think you could sit right down and just immediately know where to go. I think you'd have to get refreshed a little bit if you're doing some of the more complicated
when you boot
stuff.
up, you hold up delete or F1 possibly. You jump into BIOS. You make a couple settings. Make sure the configuration boot for the hard drive. Bam, you jump in.
You would have to
start
learn
putting
terminology for some of the new technology if you wanted to use it. Now, if you just did a basic bare bones build, most of that probably wouldn't apply. But if you wanted to do anything really fancy, you would probably. I think that's what
I
you'd
would have to
get
look that
speed
up.
on.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna. I can do a base
But no,
build.
Joel,
I'm not gonna do any
I don't think
overclocking
you're-
stuff.
None of us think you're dumb or anything. I know you could do it. It's not that hard.
You think I'm dumb?
Can I sum up the experience?
Sure.
Get a Mac.
Oh,
That's probably what happened. Is Joel would make it an hour and be like, "This is stupid. I can just pay $1,000 and get one instead. My time is worth so much."
At least your laptop would look nice. That's the one thing.
Oh no!
Although
Actually,
yesterday,
serious?
no,
PCs
just last week I
PCs
finally
really
saw a
good.
nice
That
PC
Dell?
laptop. No,
That Dell?
really nice PC laptop.
The Dell?
What do you mean? What Dell? I don't know. I haven't seen any new ones. It's someone at work. Super thin
There
laptop.
are plenty of
but
great.
really nice. I
There are
was
plenty of
just
great
impressed with
laptops.
that.
Buy. Just go to Best Buy. I mean, there's PCs
There are very
really
nice ones.
now.
Joel,
I haven't seen any good ones lately. Like
We can show you
really,
a few. There's-
really
there's quite a
quality.
few.
Like touchpads, everything. The whole.
there are more good PC laptop models than Mac models, but there are so many different ones that you'll see
there's
a
so
lot
many
more.
bad ones.
Right, you see
Yeah,
so many
yeah,
more
yeah,
of the
there is a lot,
crappy
yeah.
$400 ones. But no, Dell came out with an XPS 13. It's kind of like a MacBook Air. It's very similar.
That might have
it
been
has-
that might have been the one I saw.
It's just brand new. Someone probably wouldn't own it already.
Yeah.
But its bezel is seriously like an eighth of an inch all the way around. In the space of like an 11.5-inch laptop, they have fit. I think it's a full 13 or 13.5-inch screen. Like, and you can even get it up to a 3800 by 1200 display. I think, or maybe that's the new ThinkPad Carbon. I'm not sure. But it's let me look up the specs really quick. It actually, like, I remember seeing it thinking, wow, Joel would use this thing. Let me send you a link to it, Joel. The XPS 13 laptop with infinity display. Oh, and in usual Dell fashion, their stuff sucks. I'm gonna drop it in chat for everyone to look at. So Joel, if you want to go look at it there, it starts at only $800 for the non-touch version. But as Windows 8.1, 4 gigs of memory, 128 gig solid state drive, which is pretty good for that price. But yeah, so it comes standard with a 1080p 13.3-inch screen, wireless AC, Bluetooth, dual band wireless, a really awesome battery. Like, it comes stocked with way more than a MacBook Air gives you.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's about the same size and everything, and it's a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
It doesn't look
It's not
quite
that
as
bad.
sleek as a MacBook Air, but doesn't that bezel look amazing? Like how thin that thing is? Like, that screen would be awesome.
I don't think that's as thin as the MacBook Air. Just
The
But-
overall laptop, it's
yeah.
like 3 millimeters thicker. The MacBook
But,
Air,
yeah.
they do smart things. They taper it off so it appears to be a lot
Yeah,
thinner
yeah,
than
yeah.
it is. And this they don't taper it as much. But dude, what do you think of that screen?
I mean,
Like,
it
look
looks
at
it looks
pictures.
pretty nice.
Like with the thin bezels, doesn't that look crazy?
Yeah,
good?
that's honestly what I'm hoping for MacBook Air to update. Like, I don't want them to make it smaller or super thinner. Like,
Yeah,
I
it
just
doesn't
want
need to be any thinner
I
at
just
this
want the
point.
screen to go like out to the edges. That would be nice. Because
I'm sure we'll get there.
I like 13 inches. I think that's what the MacBook Air is right now, the one that I have. I wouldn't mind like 13.2.
Let me go.
What?
James.
What?
No, you didn't say anything wrong. Keep going, Joel.
I know it's you. I hate you all.
I think James.
No,
is
I told us to
12-year-old.
keep going. James is
Okay.
the one who derailed.
Okay, well, let's move on to the actual.
It's now time for Nugget of Wisdom.
Okay.
Hold on. I gotta point out this. Ben said in the chat that you would buy a PS4 and just put it inside of a PC case, and then you would like make comparisons to the PC masher or potato masher.
Because we all know in a PS4 it's
The
like a
PC
tiny little
masher.
part that's actually the technology, and the rest of it's just this magic.
Yeah.
It's like a magic
As long as
potion.
it holds the
By
magic,
magic,
tightly.
that's the heat sinks that are boiling hot because the fans are so tiny. Is that the magic you're talking about? Just like in a Mac, most of it's magic. Most of it's boiling hot, pumping air out while like the CPU sitting at 90 degrees Celsius going, Facebook, kill me.
Ultra, you better watch what you say. I might never have a dream with you again. So
It's now
that'd be
time for
horrible.
Nugget of Wisdom, the part of the podcast where Joel shares something mature.
Okay. All I'm going to share for tonight, really short, is don't worry about what other people think of you. Go for your dreams. Like, work really hard for it. Get off your butt and go do it. Don't wait for the perfect moment to come around. Just start now, because there's never a perfect moment. Just get off your butt and go do it now. People will say you can change things, you can make it better, like that. Just get and do it. Just go for it and make it happen.
And
That's
this
all
is
I
an
have.
awkward time for Joel to say he's canceling Norman. Putting all the money into his board game. No, Joel, that is something you talk about a lot. It's like people talk about, oh, well, I want to do this, I want to do this. And you're always like, well, just freaking do it. Like, freaking do something. Stop talking about it. Try something. You are a very big proponent of that. And I would agree. Don't neglect the things that are important in life, but I don't know, try stuff and fail.
But that can be the important thing in life, though. Like if there's something you really, really want to do or whatever, there's so much negativity out there, or there's so many things that will always make it seem like it's not going to work out, or it's not the perfect time. There's never the perfect time. Like, you just have to go for it.
Mhm.
Just wrangle it and just make it yours.
Joel, just say the thing. We've talked about just say the thing.
You gotta add a little extra thing.
No, it does not.
That's
Everything
all.
needs spice.
Okay, no spice. I take back the wrangling.
Just nice. No spice.
Yeah, that's all.
Cool.
Just
He's great at driving,
go
but
for it.
terrible at parking.
tune in next week. I'll have some more wisdom. Wait, what'd you
That is
say?
an awesome analogy.
I said he's great at driving, but terrible at parking.
That is such a good analogy.
And next week, James will be singing for us.
Joel's like the guy on the jet ski. He's flying past, going 70 miles an hour, having an amazing time, jumping waves and stuff. And then you're like, Joel, come back to the dock. You're like, I don't know how to do that. There's no brakes. I'm just gonna keep doing laps at 70.
This is what I'm good at.
Hey, it's better than wasting away on the beach just forever. Not
Speaking
doing
of which,
anything.
who's excited about the beach vacation?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So guys, we always go on like a fall beach. I say always. I've only joined in the last 2 years since you guys let me be your friend. But this year we've decided, screw it, we're going early. So we're having our fall beach vacation in April this year. And maybe we'll do a second one in the fall. Who knows? But yeah, so we're really excited. That's only like 7 weeks away now.
Oh, snap.
And we've got the best house we probably ever have had, I would say, by
It's
looking at
only
it.
going
It
to get
has
better after this.
like a 50-inch TV.
Thank you,
has a-
Patreon.
No.
Just kidding. We're not using your money for
That
that.
was good.
We're using it for boring PC parts.
But it has
that's
really
fantastic.
good TVs, which is good because we do play a lot of video games at the beach, especially in April. It has a great hot tub. When Debbie and I were sorting through houses, that was like the number one determination was how good's the hot tub. It has just really awesome everything, so we're really excited. Not that affects anyone who listens to the podcast, but we're just sharing things about our lives because you guys are our friends. And with that, that's the podcast for tonight, guys. So thank you for coming out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon. But thank you for just being here. We appreciate you guys, and we are glad that you enjoy the podcast. As always, you
Wait,
can
wait.
write into
Oh, no, sorry. I thought you were
to
going to completely end it.
casualshenanigans@gmail.com. What else can you do, Joel?
Rate us on iTunes.
Yep.
So, yeah, we'd love to.
And if you leave us a nice review on iTunes from a different country and you want us to read it out on the podcast, let us know because we won't see it because we're not from your country.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Because, yeah, we're not going to see that.
But yeah, definitely rate us on iTunes. That'd be pretty cool. And you can follow us at casualshenanigans on Twitter. JERMgaming, Evil Viking on Twitter, Evil Viking 13 on YouTube, JERMgaming on YouTube, and that's pretty much all of it. So I think we just assume James is gone and is not coming back.
He's just gone.
But to everyone who stayed throughout the entire time, thank you.
Not
We
counting all the
appreciate
hosts.
you. Exactly. We appreciate you guys, and until next week, stay casual.